For years, we've been entertained by the idea of celebrities playing themselves doing supernatural things for some reason. I mean, like, there's always, Larry Sanders Show and Curb Your Enthusiasm. There's been a lot of things where actors portray themselves, but we thought like adding in this element that's like totally surreal would really bring that idea to a new level, potentially. That's what we were excited about.
The youngest guy in the comedy gym now, and he's a very funny kid. Put your hands together for Seth Rogen.
Hi. Let's get this out of the way. Well. Hi, I'm Seth Rogen. I'd like to tell you a bit about myself. I'm a
Seth Rogen started off as a 13-year-old stand-up comedian in 1996, and that's where it all started. Born in 1982, Seth was born to Sandy and Mark Rogen. Growing up, Seth discovered his love of making people laugh. Growing up in British Columbia, Seth was raised under the religion of Judaism. He used that to his advantage and performed his first stand-up comedy act in 1996 at the age of 13, with him kicking off his act talking about his grandparents, the struggles of being a kid, and the Jewish summer camp he attended. He would continue over the next 2 years, winning the Vancouver Amateur Comedy Contest at the age of 16. Unfortunately, not long after that, Seth's dad, who was working for a non-profit organization, lost his job, and his mother recently quit her job. When all hope was lost, a casting call for Rogen would come in. It was for the show Freaks and Geeks in 1999. He played the character of Ken, who had a deadpan, burnout sense of humor. This was a big help for Seth's family, and was the start of his acting career.
How long have you been dying to tell this story?
Almost half our lives, I've just realized. I mean, we started writing the movie around 13.
I was 6 when they wrote
I'm
it.
25 now, so it's taken literally half our lives to get this movie made. And it's incredible that it actually happened. I really didn't think it ever would.
Seth eventually got his big break in 2007 in the film Knocked Up, playing the character of Ben Stone, who has to face the consequences after getting a girl pregnant. It ended up winning the Teen Choice Awards 2007 for Best Comedy and People's Favorite Movie Award in 2008. 2 years later, he was in yet another movie produced by Apatow known as Funny People, with co-star Adam Sandler. In the later part of 2007, Seth revisited a script he co-wrote with his friend Evan Goldberg at the age of 13 that would eventually become Superbad. Seth also expanded his horizons. He played in animated movies, such as Kung Fu Panda as the character Mantis, Monsters vs. Aliens as the character named Bob, and Horton in the movie Horton Hears a Who, based off the popular Dr. Seuss book. He went on to act and produce in several movies. Over the next decade, he was a producer on movies such as Game Over Man, Console Wars, Good Boys, Pineapple Express, and Sausage Party. Or a voice actor in movies such as the Lion King live-action remake, the Kung Fu Panda sequels, and coming soon, the Mario movie playing as Donkey Kong, releasing in the year 2022. You also may recognize his iconic laugh across so many of his characters.
That I know, huh?
One of Seth's good friends was James Franco. James was one of Seth's co-stars on the show Freaks and Geeks. They were fast friends. Both of them ended up working on several films together, such as Disaster Artist, Zeroville, and the interview. Unfortunately, in 2019, several women came forward about James due to sexual misconduct. Seth has stated due to this, he plans not to work with James in future projects.
I read around the Green Hornet, you said that you learned you'd rather be making the studio's least expensive movie.
For sure. Like, that was like a real shock as far as like the different level of scrutiny you get when you are their biggest focus versus how little scrutiny you get when some other assholes are their biggest focus and you're the guy that they can't be worrying about because you cost 1/10 as much as these guys. So just from a sheer manpower standpoint, it's a waste of resources to focus on our and that was something that like Green Hornet really made us appreciate. We were like, oh, now we're the assholes that some other motherfuckers are getting to make whatever they want because we're absorbing all the studio's attention and scrutiny, you know.
What did you discover when you had that scrutiny and all the studio's attention in terms of the way it killed the creative process?
It was just so like, it was one of those things where like, it was like death by 1,000 cuts and you kind of don't even realize it's happening until it's happened, you know? Like, we just never experienced anything like it. And I think it is one of those things where in real time, also there's like a real certain level of delusion that is like required when making a movie. Like, you kind of have to trick yourself into thinking it's not at least really bad or else it's hard to just keep going, you know? So it felt like very early on we weren't really going to do what we had hoped to do, but we still hoped what we were then going to do would be, you know, something that we were proud of and super psyched about. But yeah, I remember like we had never gotten like notes really. We had written Superbad and Pineapple Express for Sony. They both had done really, really, really well. We're both critically well received, like, and then all of a sudden it was like, all right, like time for our 4-hour notes meeting, like page 1, why does he say this? Page 2, that seems like a big chunk of dialogue. Shouldn't it be this, more back and forth?
And how does that feel in the room when you're having to sort of justify?
I remember just being like, what the f? Like, I feel like I was like, what is happening right now? And they were like, we're giving you notes. And I was like, this is crazy. Like, it was, we didn't just sit there and we were probably, there was a lot of conflict. It was like a highly confrontational situation because we also aren't and weren't people that just like sit there and take that stuff. We were like, you hired us, we thought, because we've written 2 good movies for you guys with none of your input.
Right.
Why do you think the third one, all of a sudden, with all this input is going to be better? Like, it was so stupid. But then there was also some sense of like, okay, like we're trying to do something different. Like maybe, I think, like how much of what makes us special do we need to hold on to? Or will it be exciting to try to do something that feels totally unlike what we've done before? So maybe these things that we're like holding on to, maybe we shouldn't hold on to as hard. And maybe that's what can make this great, you know? That wasn't true.